I began to have this swelling of the face, and we weren't sure if it was allergies or what the case may be. So they did several tests on me, and then ended up going to see an allergy specialist at the University of Virginia hospital. Doctor touched my ankle, and my ankle began to swell. We later found out that I had a rare disease called Melkerson-Rosenthal syndrome. Again, that's Melkerson-Rosenthal syndrome. At the time, I was the 17th person in the whole wide world with it. Wow. Now, are you familiar with Elephant Man?
Yes.
Could you imagine seeing that or having it happen to you, something similar in real life? I mean, my face would swell to the point where the skin would crack, and you could see the flesh from my nose and my lips, and I could feel an eyelash on my face, and it got so bad I wasn't permitted outside because the wind or the sun rays beaming on the flesh of my face or skin of my face would cause me such excruciating pain.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, to the point where I had a mild stroke, was in a medically induced coma for several months, and ended up having to go through several months of rehab to learn how to walk and talk and eat without being fed through a syringe all over again.
My God. And how old were you when this was taking place?
This began, I was about 12 or 13, more so 13, 13-ish, yes. And doctors, they went from saying, oh, she's going to, you should plan her funeral, calling your pastor, calling your preacher, because she's not going to make it much longer. And, I mean, my God, look at me now. Look at me now. So I went through a phase where I was attending a private school during this time, and I'm not sure if you are familiar with private institutions, but, you not only have to meet the academic qualifications as far as the schoolwork, but you also have to be present. And though I was doing the schoolwork and the rehab, I was not present. So therefore, they forced me and expelled me from school. And at this point, I was maybe in about the 7th grade, going into the 8th grade, and I homeschooled myself for several months after getting better and normalizing, until one day I was like, hey, you know what? I'm past this, so let's do something different. So unbelievable. I love telling this story. Unbelievably, without my mother or my grandparents noticing, I had written a letter to the school board requesting to be exempt from the school, Roanoke City School, so that I could then obtain my GED.
Okay.
After doing so, I didn't tell my folks until the morning of the meeting, went to the meeting, and they were blown away. Needless to say, I went on, took my GED with the baggage of you'll never be anything. You're not a high school graduate. You'll never go to college. There's nothing you can do in this world. You might as well have just been a dropout. Overscored. Only missed one question on the practice test. Turned around with no classes, did the rest of the test, and missed not one question, and entered college when I was 17 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow.
Not to mention that I'm legally blind.
Wow.
I have been legally blind all my life. Basketball superstar.
Basketball
superstar. AAU, middle school ball, high school ball. I mean, doctor, I had a mean jumper.
Girl, you better stop. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Yes, and so who, medically speaking, I'm sure that someone had to be following you to take account for this full-on recovery.
Oh, definitely. So there was a doctor by the name of, I can't recall his first name, but the last name was Lucas. He was doctor over at the allergy clinic at UVA Hospital, and they started this medical blog with this medical institution in Canada. And the request, they were sending studies back and forth trying to figure out what this rare disease was, but there was a medical following. And come to find out, I believe that there's only one other patient with this disease who also has experienced the pressure facial angioedema. The other patients never experienced pain with this illness. And to the surprise, I still battle this today, this autoimmune thing they want to call it. But it's never been as bad. To God be the glory.
My God. And so now you got this mean jumper. You college at 17. And so what brings you to the space that you're in right now? You're coaching. You're into digital marketing. You've achieved some phenomenal things. And so what brought you into the space of really wanting to help others to understand that they can persevere as well?
Well, for me, I speak a lot, and you mentioned in the bio, I talk about this toolbox of mine. And one of the biggest tools in my toolbox is this relationship that I have with God the Father. And I've been so involved in ministry since about 4 or 5 years old, which a lot of people find unbelievable. But it was the fact of knowing who I am and whose I am that continues to allow me to press on. So I started with wanting to give this ray of sunshine and help others prior to even this illness. My mother is a victim of domestic violence. I come from a domestic violence home, and I would spend nights at 5 or 6 years old cleaning blood from my mother and praying with her and for her and encouraging her. And I don't even know where these words of wisdom came from, but it started there at that grassroots of about 5, and as I matriculated upward in age and my faith got stronger and things that I had been through had provided me with this evidence. I wanted to let others know at about the age of 15 or 16, especially my peers, that it's cute to love God. It's fine to love God. It's okay to praise Him and do what's right. So I started the youth praise dance team at my church. And a group of young ladies who were more like 2 or 3 years younger than I, but had such, looked up to me just for what I had done in the church and the community. And I wanted to grow and blossom them. And we created this dance team that's still going forth today. Then as I got a little older and started experiencing my college years and seeing my people that I didn't even know with such hopelessness, and I wanted to let others know that if you can be from where I came from, if you can go through any trial and tribulation and you have overcome that situation, there's no reason why you can't dig in that same toolbox, pull out those same tools, and build another bridge to surpass that different obstacle. I wanted to let others know that you aren't where you are currently standing. You aren't what you have been through. You're only where you're going. So I designed this line in college, this cosmetics line called Me by Lee Marie. And it was basically a way to express the way I was feeling and to be able to pull other women and young girls who were feeling the same way that I felt, who didn't necessarily like what they saw in the mirror, but were able to use something that was so natural just to give them a magnifying glass. A lot of people say, oh, makeup is it's not for people that have natural beauty. It's all in how you look at it. I took this beauty line and I allow it to for women to use it as a magnifying lens to see that deep inner beauty. Sometimes you need a little bit of encouragement on the exterior to see how prepared and built up and how strong you are on the interior.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can definitely I concur with that 100%. I myself am not a makeup wearer. I'm not a makeup wearer, but it's just because I just never took the time to learn how to and make it look good. So it's not that I'm like, oh, I'm so beautiful that I don't need it. I just, I was a tomboy, and so I just never took the time. And so this is one thing I know for sure. When sisters can put it on and put it on correctly, it enhances their what's already beautiful. A sister like me would probably be walking around looking like Homie the Clown, because I don't know.
But you don't need much. Think about how you feel in the morning when you hop out of bed and you don't have any lip gloss or anything going. But right before you get out your car to walk into your establishment or walk into a business meeting, you pop a little gloss or a little lipstick on, right? And you feel completely different. It's like power in your pocket.
Yes. Power in your pocket. I love it. So let me ask this question. So in the midst of everything that you have been through and everything that you have been able to aspire to in spite of physical and medical setbacks, what you have definitely said, and unless I have misunderstood the conversation, what I've heard you say is that when it all really comes down to it, as long as that spiritual bond is intact, you can pretty much get through the rest of it.
You can get through it. You can get through it.
You about to make me throw this microphone.
And I have these conversations with persons who don't have that spiritual relationship or are so anti-church or anti-God and anti-this, or you want to interchange pronouns. But I will tell anybody, my interest is not in being churchy. My interest is being the matchmaker between you and God, creating that relationship. All you need is a relationship and being able to have some kind of communication with God, Jehovah, the higher power, the spirit, the universe. You have to have some type of spiritual belief and some type of positive energy.
Amen. Amen. And so I'm going to pause right here. And because we did have some technical difficulties, I'm going to pause right here and do another welcome to the conversation with Stevie Mills. I am sitting in for Stevie. I am Dr. M.E. Porter, affectionately known as the Soul Shifter, and I am here on today having a conversation with Lee Marie. And if you've been listening in, then you already know that she is absolutely a phenomenal woman of God. And so just in case you didn't hear all of that in the beginning of the show, I wanted to just pause and do a little station break to let you know that you are indeed listening to the conversation with Stevie, and I am filling in for Stevie on today, Dr. Marilyn Porter, and my guest on today is Lee Marie. And right now she is schooling me on how to get my makeup on, without looking like a clown.
But less is more.
So I definitely appreciate perseverance. I appreciate more than anything a rock-solid relationship with God the Father. Mm-hmm. We've all been through some things. We all have, some stories to tell that when you look back over your life, you think, if it had not been for the goodness of the Lord, where would I be? And so I just want to honor you and appreciate you for being so willing to stand in that space, because in the entrepreneur world or in the corporate world, either or in the entrepreneurial world or in the corporate world, people are not always so apt to bring God into the equation. And I tell my children this all the time. I tell my children, well, I have a 15-year-old, and we were having a conversation a few weeks ago, and she was telling me about a friend of hers at school that was having some problems, and so I said, well, is she a Christian? And she said, I don't know. And my response to that was, if you don't know that somebody's a Christian, they're not.
Well, man, you're right. You're right, because that light should shine without you saying a word.
Right.
Yes.
So I honor you, my sister, for letting that light shine, for not in a way or pulling back, or even when it comes to interchanging the pronouns, there's a difference. There is a difference. There are particular people, and I won't say names, but there are particular people who can say things like the universe or source or whatever, and when you hear it, you know that they're not talking about God the Father. You know they're not talking. You know what I mean? But then there are times when you can hear someone say, you know, the source of all things or the creator of the universe, or, and you know just instinctively that they are indeed talking about Jehovah God. And so I just want to honor you for being bold, you know, in the space that you stand. And when asked the question, you know, how did you get here? Your first and foremost was, first of all, my relationship. You know, like almost like, lady, did you really ask me?
No, but I mean, oftentimes that's just missed, and we forget that as great of beings as we are in the midst of what we're dealing with and what we're going through, that He is the reason why we're here, and He is the reason why we get through our day-to-days, whether we acknowledge it or not. He tries to give us gentle reminders day after day, even to the non-believers. But hey, when you know what's going on and who you are and where and whose you are, you have no choice but to profess it with your mouth and believe it with your heart.
Absolutely. So, as we bring this conversation to a close, if there were I don't like to give a number. I don't want to say like 1 or 3 points, but if there were just a few tips, that you would give to someone who's listening now, who is in the midst of a struggle, whether it be with health or whether it be with finances or whether it be, you know, in the confines of a marital relationship, if someone is struggling with something to the point where they feel like they just can't make it, what is your encouragement for them?
The first thing I would definitely say is for you, sit down. Find you a quiet place. I don't care if it's in your bathroom, your shower, your closet, your car, the custodial closet at work. I don't care. Find you a quiet place and have a conversation with yourself. And as you start having this conversation with yourself, you will notice that you will start conversing with the Spirit. You will start having this conversation. You will the world, the environment, the Holy Spirit will start matriculating these wave patterns of strength and power that you need to take that first step to even be able to look at yourself in the mirror, right? So once you have that strength and that ability to now be able to stand toe-to-toe with yourself in the mirror, now you have to own your truth. Own what's going on. Own what you may have done to allow for the situation to get to where it is. Own how you believe in certain things. It doesn't mean that it's your fault, but it's saying that you have owned it, that you accept responsibility, that you know that you played a part as an individual. Step 3, now that you've done that and you've come toe-to-toe with self, you forgive yourself. right? Because no one can forgive you until you have forgiven yourself. And you cannot go to God with a tongue of forgiveness and ask for forgiveness if you have not taken the steps to own where you've been, stand in that truth, forgive yourself, and then allow God to forgive you so that others may do the same if that is necessary. Don't forget to take care of you. Right? Take care of you. Do the things that are necessary for you. Oftentimes we hear such a cliche, oh, it's not about what you look like on the outside. It's how you feel on the inside. Okay, I'm sorry. Throw that out the window. All right? A lot of times we find that's just a load of mess. A lot of times in my experience in retail, we look how we feel. When we having a bad day, we look a mess. When our hearts are a mess, we look a mess. But when we feel bad and when we feel top of the line or when we feel that our hair and our makeup are slayed, we feel good. We feel conviction. We walk around with our head held high. So don't forget to take those 5-minute things that you need every morning to at least make yourself feel good. Pop your little gloss on. Pop your little mascara on if need be. Walk out that house with your head held high and your shoulders thrown back. 4, when we talk about finances, we oftentimes, especially in our culture and a lot of our communities, think that our finances are defined by the amount of material things we can display, whether it's the label on our clothing or the car that we drive or the street name that's on our street sign. No, that's not it. It's about being able to make sure that you have planned for the long term, right? It's not about the current situation that you're in. I may only have $5 and 3 lint balls in my pocket right now, but I'm going to try to figure out how to take that $5 and those 3 lint balls and triple and keep moving and moving. And we have to think about that. When you want that extra milkshake from Chick-fil-A, instead of getting that milkshake, hit that transfer button to your savings account. Take it out, go get a money order, slide it up under your mattress. Do what you have to do to make sure that you provide and that you are leaving behind a legacy, something good for people to talk about. So 1, we got that you make sure that you know who you are, whose you are. 2, being able to look at yourself toe-to-toe and understanding who you are, where you came from, and owning your truth and the things that you've been through. 3, make sure that your finances are straight. Be financially responsible, because once you're financially responsible and you have this backlog, you're able to, then no one can tell you that you can't do this. You don't owe anybody. You are an individual. And then you just live every day to do your best. You live every day doing the right thing. You get up in the morning, you put yourself on, take care of you, and then you set the goal to how you're going to change at least one person's life that day. And then once you have all those things, you will start seeing how your life will come together and how powerful it is and how solid it is. And once you get to that point where it's solid and that foundation is solid, no matter what you go through, no matter what's thrown at you, you're going to realize there can't nothing break that foundation. It might shake it a little bit, but it's not going to break it.
Not going to break it. Planted like a tree by the water. Roots go deep. The roots go deep. Well, you heard it here, loud and clear. I don't even want to recap it because it got so good to her. Y'all know when it get good, you start whispering. She got down in that whisper voice. So it was feeling good, and so I don't even want to touch it. I'm going to leave it just how you put it out there into the atmosphere, and may God bless those words. May he bless the ears that are hearing them. But I want you to let everyone know, how do they continue to be inspired by you? Where are you at? Where can they find you out here in these internet streets? Where is your e-real estate, your website? And we definitely want to know, how do we get our hands on a little bit of that lip gloss?
Well, I got you covered, Doctor. I got you covered. For all of my Facebookers, you can find me on Facebook. I do a lot of live motivational things at Lee Marie on Facebook. That's Lee space MARIE. You can follow the makeup page on Facebook at Me by Lee Marie. That's MEBYLEEMARIE, as well as on Instagram by that same Me by Lee Marie. Anytime you ladies need, or gentlemen need a little inspiration, a little lift me up, have any kind of questions, feel free to email me, mebyleemarie@gmail.com. Now, I heard you say give you the direction to get that lip gloss popping. Make sure that you go and check out the website, mebyleemarie.com. Keep in mind that custom colors are also available as well as services. So if you need any of that, tap into those social medias. If you're local and in the area and just want to pop up on me, you can always find me at 730 Loudon Avenue Christian Church. Our doors are always open where we're extraordinary. So please feel free to reach out.
Well, to God be the glory. I mean, that's a whole lot. That's a whole lot. Wherever you are in the world, you can catch up. You can definitely get your hands on Lee Marie. This has been absolutely awesome, just as I knew it would be, just from reading your bio. I already knew, like I said, I already knew that I was in the presence of greatness, and I never, ever take it lightly when God allows me or permits me the opportunity to be blessed by the words of a fellow worker in the vineyard. So I appreciate you. I look forward to, because I'm going to make my way to Roanoke. I look forward to hugging your neck sometime in 2018. And in the midst of it all, sister, you continue to do the thing that God has poised you to do in the earth. And I could be wrong. You know, I've been wrong before, but what it sounds like to me is that he really has just positioned you in the earth to be a light. So you keep on shining bright. You keep on shining brightly so that all men and women that would look upon you would know that Jesus is real, and that not only is he real, but he understands. He understands the trials and the tribulations that we endure, and he gives us the strength to persevere through them. That is what I have learned from you today, my dear. And so I am very grateful. So you all, this has been the conversation with Stevie. Thank you so much for listening in. I am Dr. N.E. Porter, affectionately known as the Soul Shifter. Why? Because that's what I do. I appreciate your ear. I know that your heart has been touched. And so you go on and continue this day and be absolutely phenomenally blessed. And remember, everything that you need to survive in this world is already inside of you. Have a great day.